Can't hear you, sir.
You need to unmute Mr. Somebody Bhattacharya.
Yes, sir. We can hear you now.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thanks. Thank
Ah,
you.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming, sir.
Okay. So can we have a few minutes more before people can join already?
Yeah,
Like as
one
we
or
can,
two more.
people are
One
left,
or two
right?
more. Three people already joined, so three people joined. So let's wait for one
Mm-hmm.
or two.
Okay.
We can start. We can do one thing. That three people already joined. Actually, three people are the initial speakers. Should we start the
Mm-hmm.
session, or should we wait for another
Just 2 minutes.
five,
We
ten
can have a
minutes?
look. Yeah, two,
Okay,
3 minutes if it's all right for you.
okay,
Because like it would be
fine,
much
fine.
easier so people can understand.
No, no problem. No problem. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we can start with that. We can start.
Yeah, we can start. I think
Yeah.
it's time to start.
Mhm. Yeah, 100%.
I would request all the guests who are there already, please switch on your cameras.
Yeah, please.
Anil sir, Vivek sir, Tomo sir, welcome, ma'am.
Good evening, sirs.
Good evening. Good evening. Thanks for coming. Thanks for
Thank you.
coming. A very short notice. Thanks for coming. So first, I would like to, I believe it's a very important issue, as we all know, which what we are discussing today. So we would like to start with the lineup of the panelists. There were very eminent people today present with us. I would like to introduce all of them. First, I would like to start with Ambassador Anil Tugunayat, retired IFS officer. He's a very eminent bureaucrat. He has served in Jordan, Malta, Libya, and presently he is the chairman at Confederation of Education Excellence. We have with us Mr. Vivek Atre, retired IAS officer, author, mentor, motivational speaker. We have Somodip Bhattacharya, IPS, Additional SP Headquarters, Darjeeling, West Bengal. And we have other guests who are already not present at this moment, but they will definitely join us, I believe. We have Ma'am Dr. Debarati Halda, Cyber Victim Counselor. I think we have Rajat Negi with us, the editor of Gizmotech. And we have, last but not the least, the founder, Eskan Robotics, the Khan, with us. So I would like to start this conference with a, introduction note from Dikan. I would request him to start this conference.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, to joining us, and I really love to see you guys here. So the reason behind like why we're doing this whole conversation right now is about to understand how we can protect our data in our country. And if I talk about like the way we have, bring our company together, it's about like we tried to create a whole ecosystem that might change the perspective of the way. Can you hear me? I think like, is it all right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So sorry about that. I just felt like maybe something wrong going on. So yeah, it's about like the company we are working for is about something that can help us to protect our data in not in terms of like when you search in browsing or messaging or communicating with people. It's about something that can help you to understand like the bigger difference when we are talking about data privacy. People don't care that much, you know what I'm saying, what I have faced, because been in industry for last 2 years, and we have started our company in last 2 years, and the time being I felt is like people don't even understand the difference between data privacy and data security, you know what I'm saying, and as I can see, you guys are all industry leaders and you understand like how things are going on in terms of cyber security. Am I right? Yeah. So we tried to start this whole conference because we can make people understand like how we can make people aware about how important is it like in terms of if you talk about the data privacy. And the concern we are seeing in this 2021 is like every single people there is having a they are skeptical about what they are facing into in terms of like data privacy and security. In terms of if you talk about the second thing that I really felt about is like every single people around the globe, they have the same kind of problem. Like you guys are dependent on some kind of product line. I mean, I'm not saying some kind of product line, but yeah, they are the people those who are working in the different countries. But how can you think of something that can be possible or something that can be used by someone else from somewhere else and that can be protected properly? You know, so I'm trying to say. So it's been 2 years down the line, and what I have felt and what I have realized is like we really need people to understand what we are offering, and a part of that how we can make you people understand like how we can protect your data in terms of like when you are doing whatever online. It's not our problem. It's all about like if you are a right person, that means like we have to take care of you. That's what I'm trying to say. And as we can see, there is someone from police department. There is already there, Mr. Somyadeep Bhattacharya, right? It's really nice seeing you, Mr. Somadeep. So yeah, according to if I talk about like how we can help you guys understand like how we can track these wrong people as well. that is something my company or myself is about something that you can say we protect your privacy. But we do understand like there is lots of people, they are not good people. And if they are doing something wrong, then we're gonna have to find you, track you, and put you where you belongs to. So in terms of like as a company, I feel like it's my responsibility to take care of all these people privacy as well, but their protection as well in terms of their own life. You know what I'm trying to say? Because due to this whole scenario, what's going on, it's not just affecting our life as well. It's affecting the whole ecosystem. Like when we are searching something, when we are getting a wrong information, and that information is manipulating our whole mindset. You know what I'm saying? So for that reason, I believe like we have to be more conscious, and we have to be more aware about all these aspects what we are seeing right now. And that's the whole reason behind we have started this whole conference. So I really welcome you guys, all of you together, and thank you so much for joining us. And we're gonna start from here right now. Is that all right for you?
Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
please.
Thank you, Karan, for this wonderful speech, the introductory note. So I would like to start with Anil sir. So what, as a bureaucrat, you have faced multiple challenges. Today, the government is going through a massive digitization, as we all know. So how do you think digitization is a very important part of governance today? Keeping that in mind and keeping data safety, do you think we can really crack a right balance? Is it possible to maintain a huge system by maintaining the safety also?
Well, thank you so much. And I must appreciate ISKCON Robotics and the organizers, and Mr. Bhattacharya, as well as all the distinguished panelists and friends for being here today. Thank you for your invitation. I'm not an expert on the subject, but let me share some of my thoughts as a citizen and some ongoing debate that I follow. You might have the answers, as was just mentioned, as you are working at the Bcrypt to try to create some kind of an ecosystem which is safe. And I must compliment you if that is true, because today one does not know really. And being part of the cyberspace is just a fact of life. We just can't do without it. And then as far as we are concerned, you know, what used to be in the 18th, 19th century, there was always a gold rush for Africa. Today, data is the gold in this 21st century, and everybody is running after it. And that is also a given and unavoidable. Rules are being made to regulate, but then competition and negotiations will be tough for those who understand its importance and futuristic value. I know that in our system, sometimes we try to create a communication channel which the person who created thought that it was inviolable. And you will not believe it, that when we invited some people to crack it, it was in 15 minutes a young boy cracked it. So we are looking at these kind of things. So that's where all your data. We have heard the case of Julian Assange, I'm sure you all have, which was the biggest data breach and theft, which was the most highly sensitive information ever leaked out in such bulk quantities, and which put the Americans and everybody else into a very difficult domain. It was a treasure trove for the other competing parts, no doubt. So no wonder, I mean, there was a report I was reading today in Daily Mail, and it says that the CIA was even trying to kill him or kidnap him. But the interests of the geopolitics were served at the time. So what I'm saying is that we, as simple users, have really no clue exactly where the data is going, who is using the data or abusing the data. Very often we hear that your credit card information in millions has been breached. There is some kind of a dark web where things are sold and purchased and are hosted. So these are the kind of things that one has to do. No one has even the confidence today in a system that tends to assure you that your data is safe. Whether it's the governments or whether it is the individuals, companies or programs which are seeing that. We just do not know who's tracking you. You send an email on WhatsApp, on a Gmail about something, they'll just pick up the keywords and you start receiving a lot of, offers and what kind of similar kind of things. That's the artificial intelligence working over time behind every program that is being created. That's what I understand about it. So even our constitution, frankly, it's a very scary scenario though, but even our constitution does not grant the fundamental right to privacy. So if my data is there, if it's in public domain, whatever it is, it's very difficult for me to control it. I can only trust the government. I can only trust the agencies that are ensuring it. There is a cyber cell and everything what the government has created. But as we see from what is happening across the world, we are still just starting. But all said and done, I think there was certain safeguards have been provided. And the courts in 2017, I think that there was a landmark judgment in which the Supreme Court did recognize the right to privacy as a fundamental right, which was coming out of the Article 21 of the Constitution. So that was a very, very important judgment, but that gives you some kind of, I would say, comfort level to the individual that yes, okay, courts we can go to, the police we can go to, we can seek something, but the kind of damage that can be done by that. So that is something that is, I think we need to work on. I don't know how it will be done. India does not have any regulatory authority as of now, which I'm not aware about it. If it is there, please correct me, which can protect the personal data of the people. There is Ministry of Information Technology that keeps coming out with various rules, regulations, explanations, but very often some of the NGOs would call that arbitrary. E-commerce during the pandemic has really become our way of life. Digitization in India has increased tremendously. And you know the Chinese economy depended about 40% of its GDP comes out of digital economy. In India's case, it's about 30%. But our revenue is far higher this year or last year than it was. And we have also seen what kind of app wars that have taken place. And everything that is the moment you go into the digital domain, you're sharing some kind of a data. That is very much there. So storage of a certain data is absolutely essential, but then sharing of the data unwillingly or willingly we do, and that happens very often. But it is traded without you even knowing it. So that's something that we have to do that. And pandemic, of course, has enhanced our dependencies on the digitization and on the cyberspace, healthcare to essentials to anything that we look at in our day-to-day lives is governed by the technology today, frankly. And so therefore, I think that technology is the main thing that is going to eventually provide us some sort of a protection. As we are talking today itself, Prime Minister, just 1 minute, Prime Minister has launched a digital health mission today, which means all the data, which is Aadhaar and everything else, will be once again linked to that. So I would say that all these digital missions, they are absolutely a must. We cannot do without them, but it is absolutely an imperative that the adequate regulations and laws are provided for, which are strictly observed by the authorities and by the people who do that. And I'm happy if you can, your organization is able to provide some kind of a comfort level, but then the data management itself needs to be looked into. I'll stop here. If there's any question, I'll be happy to answer. Thank you so much.
Sir, I have a question. That
Yeah.
in this era of, we are talking about globalization. Globalization is a part of today's world. So once we are talking about globalization, if we talk again about data colonization, so don't you think that both are contradictory to each other? So is it possible to maintain?
Well, I don't think so. I mean, it's very difficult. It is like trade, in my view. You see, data will be a tradable commodity tomorrow. Because when we are going to discuss today, their discussions are going on in Geneva, and you know, Indian delegation does not have even any brief to discuss exactly where do we stand today, because we have not yet formulated our own policy. So India has a data. I mean, you can imagine if 90 crore people have been vaccinated. I mean, that's a data which is equal to hundreds of countries' population. So that's something that everybody is looking for, and that's the problem that we are having. So if you are going to work in the global domain, like the trade has its own protections and non-tariff barriers and whatnot, I'm sure the data will become data mining is going to be one of the biggest challenges. And we are having discussions with the European Union, with the Americans. When Prime Minister Modi went there, again, there was a discussion. India is not opening up. So they want all these things to be opened up. But that's why we have to protect ourselves as we enter into these AI-driven industrial revolution or digitization of the whole economy. So that data gathering, processing, all these will have to be protected. So when we are going into the negotiations with any country, and I know you may say data colonization or whatever it is, but if any product is in the market. It is a marketable commodity. You have to only find the ground rules for doing it.
That's true.
Correct. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So I would request the next speaker. I think Vivek sir is there.
That's right. I'm here.
Yeah,
Yes.
sir, if you could please start with your insight on this topic.
Yes, thank you very much for inviting me, and it's very enlightening to listen to the ambassador, and I totally agree with his views. I think it's a very significant subject that you have touched upon, and I don't think there is enough debate or discussion or awareness being carried out on it. So I have a little bit of background because I am an electronics engineer and I work with the service for 26 years in the state civil service, then in the IAS. And I was director of IT and also of science and technology. And data was becoming an issue in the period from 2000 to 2010. I resigned in 2017, by when it had become a major commodity, as the ambassador referred to. You see, the point is that whatever we value, that becomes something you need to safeguard more carefully. And tomorrow, of course, there is a story that when India started exporting software, and it turned out to be NASSCOM's target used to be $50 billion of software per annum. And today it's probably crossed $150 billion of software exports. And of course, the politicians didn't know what hit them initially. They didn't know what it was about. So where is this billions of dollars? How are they being received and exported? It was all data. It was all software. It was all on the computer, and it was all not tangible, intangible, if you could say. Today, I think everybody is a little more enlightened about the nature of the world we live in. And the companies like Google and Facebook, Amazon, and the fourth one you could say is even if you look at maybe IBM also has some stake in data. These companies are like oil companies used to be, and data is the new oil. And if you look at real estate in America, even in a city like New York, Facebook and Google, with its parent company Alphabet, will own most of the real estate, which is commercial and office space. So there is no doubt that data is the new gold or the new oil or the new rich or the new whatever you call it. The problem is that when something like this is to be safeguarded, then there has to be agreement across nations, agreement within nations, norms, guidelines, procedures, clauses which are relevant in the IT Act or cybersecurity laws, which penalize people per act of transgression. Just like you might say for a theft of a physical kind, there is a law laid down for more than 100 years that this is the punishment for this. Breach of security is not taken seriously even today by the law enforcement authorities unless and until somebody takes very concerted and determined action. Let me tell you a very crazy and serious ailment which is now going to hit us if we're not careful. There is a way to call up your number or receive a call from you from your phone and hack into your data in that phone within 3 to 4 minutes. There are companies which can do it. And cybersecurity, therefore, becomes so important. It's like robbing your wallet remotely. If somebody is able to get access into your bank account, in fact, you won't carry that much money in your wallet, but your bank account is where you have all your assets. And that number, if it is calling you from an unknown number, we pick it up, we talk to that person makes an excuse or a couple of excuses to talk to us for 3 or 4 minutes and is able to hack into our phone. then the level of security required becomes very serious. Now you can have CCTVs outside the road. You can have CCTVs outside jewelry shops. And we have covered a large part of the country today with CCTVs, private or municipal corporation or police department or whatever. A country like Singapore or even the US will have almost every inch of urban area covered by CCTVs. It's very difficult for a person to get away from a robbery without being filmed on a camera. But if you look at data, there is no way in which an unsuspecting old or young gentleman or lady can safeguard his or her data if he or she is not careful. And we know that passwords and OTPs and things like that are not foolproof. Until we have double step verification, until we have training, until we have initiation, until we carry out a mass campaign, and even illiterate people, at least digitally illiterate people, are able to safeguard their own data, it's going to be very difficult. And the problem with this is that if I forget my password, and I tend to forget my password as I'm getting on in the years, let's say, not that I am forgetting it as yet, but I might one day start forgetting my password. And in that case, it's going to become necessary for me to note it down somewhere. Then my person who works with me, who is intelligent enough to retrieve my password and bank account details, becomes a threat. So I think what needs to be done is that at the international level, the ambassador very clearly said, there needs to be unanimity, there needs to be cohesion, there needs to be working together. And at the local level, the government level of India, let's say, and the state government level, there needs to be awareness, literacy campaigns. There need to be action against fraudsters. Again, you see, we used to say that when a politician is arrested and tried and jailed, then all politicians might, curb their tendency to be more corrupt. And it happened now in many cases over the last few years or decades that such politicians have been arrested, in some cases at least. So the thing is that until we take action, even for the slightest breach of deliberate breach of somebody's security and hacking, nothing will happen. And they will go on, because a vicious mind could be a very intelligent mind. And we know that an ethical hacker can hack into systems for the government or for an organization in order to prove how hacking can be done so that they can foolproof it. But an unethical hacker is smarter or as smart as that person and will always be a step ahead. So you see, the policeman at the security post has to be alert 24/7 or 12/7, whatever his duty is, 365 days of the year. But the attacker knows when he's going to attack. He's going to attack on the 14th of January at 4:39 a.m. or p.m. This guy doesn't know. And therefore, our security has to be comprehensive and foolproof. And across the board, technology exists, technology is there, but rules, procedures, punishments, and making an example of the people who have deliberately defrauded others is something that we need to do. They need to be vilified, just like anybody who has murdered somebody or at least stolen somebody's property. These criminals need to be brought to book. Only then, when the fear of law is there, then we will be able to take steps which are cogent and which are effective. These are my thoughts. Data is to be protected. Data is to be valuable. Data cannot be given out freely. And we should be careful as citizens as well. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for this wonderful insight. Sir, I have a small question for you that if you spoke about awareness, if you really have to aware people, so much of people in India about this kind of sensitive issue, then do you think political intention and the community involvement is also important apart from, strengthening the law enforcement structure. So how important is it? And how we can
Absolutely
really achieve
correct.
that? Is it possible?
Absolutely correct. I totally agree with you. You see, India works on campaigns. India works on not only political campaigns. Tomorrow, if you have a yoga day, then the whole of India is doing yoga. I am talking at a very practical level. If you have a Fit India day, then everybody is working on Fit India. At least the government is. Tomorrow, you have a cyber security awareness day for the masses. And you watch how all the government officials down to the BDO and the SHO and everybody get down to it. And the Patwari and the Anganwadi worker, they know everybody in India is covered by one of these people. So we need to have a concerted campaign. And our Prime Minister comes many a time on TV to talk about this and that. Let him talk about this also once or twice. It will have an impact. And I'm sure it will work.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I would now go to Somojit, sir. Sir, as a law enforcement, as a part of the law enforcement, entire this structure, what are the on-ground challenges that you are facing as a police officer, and what do you think, how we can really overcome that? You can start with your own speech and your insight, and then you can answer the question. Hello, Somojit, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah. Please start your insight. We can't hear you, sir. Voice
Muted.
muted, sir.
So was it fine?
Yeah, fine, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, fine.
Good evening to all of you, and thanks for inviting me. But truly speaking, when my good friends Satyaki and Suvajit told me about this webinar, and I told them that though I am an engineer, but my engineering and just 2 years my service is not wise enough to talk about the legal aspects. But then they again told me about the experience of my last 2 years job. And I got the subject from them through WhatsApp. And it sounds like the need of new age tech ecosystem to protect online data. So when I see the subject, this online data, that looks catchy for me. Now, what is online data? As Anil sir and Vivek sir discussed about all the Google, Amazon, IBM, everything. Obviously, those things we are putting in any web platform, any internet platform. Our personal data or the data available, whether we are putting or it's available in the in our internet, it's a online data. In layman language, again, I am telling that I am not the expert or I am not wise enough to discuss the legal issues as told by Suvajit. I'll try to make it simple or make it in I try to discuss in a micro level what we are facing and what are the challenges and what are the issues with the data security. So for layman, online data is in internet, but for me the data. So for me, the data which you are giving in the public domain, it may be online or it may be offline. It's the online data, because the moment you are providing your data offline, finally it goes to in an online mode. Now how? You can say I am not talking about the Google. I am not talking about the Facebook, dark web, Tor. Each and everything is there, but your Facebook account can be hacked, your Google account can be hacked. But the most important thing, when you are affected economically, means when your pocket, you are cheated, when you get a call from someone and again your bank, you get a zero, your bank balance becomes zero. So if you go to the micro level, you go to that cheating part. Sometimes we call it a cyber crime like of thing, but mostly it looks like cheating. Let's say that you are going to I'll not say any name. You are going to any that supermarket, and someone is asking for your mobile number. Sometimes they even not ask your mobile number. They give you a sheet. Just, sir, please write down your name, your address, your mobile number. And as a good citizen, we generally wrote down, yes, sir, you will get this offer. Very good. Now, Anil sir asked a very pertinent question. Who is using this data and where is this data is going? I will try to answer this question through one example. Before I go to the example, before I go to my case study, I'll just share one thing. The banking system, where in India, at least, we have the total faith in our banking system. But there are few issues. There are few systems where the banking system is now the core thing is in the banking system, but some things are given to the third party. And here is the most concern comes, because these third parties or these call center, those who are working 24/7 with 7,000, 5,000 salary, they are not good enough to protect our data. Sometimes you go to the bank and some person will come to you, yes, sir, if you need a credit card, I can help you. Now, do you know how much this boy or girl get as their salary? They get only 3,000 or 4,000. But there is a huge demand of the data. What data? When you are filling up the form, you are filling up the form of your credit card with a private individual, not with a bank employee. I'm telling you. And this data, generally they sell with a huge, the cost of data is huge in the market. Now, there is those things are very advanced stage. I'll still say that those are in an advanced stage, that black web and other things. They sell it to the famous or infamous. All of you know that the Jamtara gang. And when we inquired into one case, as I proceed, that there was a few months back that we got a case that customers of a particular public center bank was getting cheated. And how they were cheated, I'll just explain. They were getting a call, and in that call, the caller obviously, as sir told, that they will introduce themselves as some executive officer of the bank, and they will ask for the OTP or they will have a chat. But there was a little trick in this in those calls, because when they were calling, they were giving you each and every details. What details they were giving? They were giving you. They were telling your name. They were telling your mobile number. They were telling your account number. They were telling how much in your account you have, how much amount of money you have. And those customers, those who went to the ATM of that particular bank and there was some failed transaction, the cheaters had those data. So they were exactly telling like this, sir and ma'am, you went to ATM on so and so date, there was a failed transaction, you tried to withdraw 7,000 of rupees. Now you have 30,000 of rupees in your bank account. You will lodge a complaint with our executive and you will get your money back in your account, your 7,000 or 8,000. But for getting this money back into your account, you have to give us a OTP. So with all such data, let's say it's me and I got a call, yes sir, itna to aapka gaya tha paisa, aap us din gaye the, we'll return the money, just give us the OTP. So that credibility goes. इसमें credibility आ जाता है, because When you just ask the OTP, no one will give. At least today, most of the people will not give. But with this, the success rate went huge. The success rate of the cheaters went up. Even when we caught that those guys, they told, yes sir, जिसके अकाउंट में 30,000 के नीचे रहता था उसको तो कॉल ही नहीं करते थे. That was the exact line they told. Yes sir, 30,000 के नीचे क्या पैसा मारेंगे, ज्यादा होगा तभी उसको कॉल करते थे. So they have that Excel sheet with all name, account number, date of failed transaction, amount of failed transaction, amount at present in the account. With that data sheet, they were calling all the customers. Now, what is the cost of this data? The cost of this data, when we went to the root of the problem, the data was stolen from the call center at Gurgaon, then it was transferred to a second party in Patna, then it was transferred to the caller guy. Then it was transferred to the third party to caller guy. And the data, the cost of the data sheet was for 20 people, it was 25,000 per data sheet. Only that photo, because from call center, you can't access your Gmail or other things. So from the call center, they used to take a photo and they send through WhatsApp or something for this cheating. So this is just an example. And if you go to the amount of cheating, and amount through this is just an example of when we are cheated through OTP. There are other things like ad in the Facebook, ad in the OLX, ad in the tower company, each and everything, and it's like a big business. There are hundreds of crores. I'll not say any particular data, but it's more than few hundred crores which are siphoning from our banking system to the cheaters. Now, lastly, I'll tell about the challenge, as Subhajit told me, and rightly point out by Vivek sir that these things are not that visible. When a dacoity occurred in a broad daylight, you have the CCTV camera, you have the sensation in the news channels that 3 crores of dacoity occurred. But when let's not say 3 crores, 3 lakhs, but when it happened in your locality, all the news channel will come that one dacoity occurred and all the household items are gone. But when you are cheated by 3 lakhs, no one knows. That the invisibility of this crime make it a challenge. And the same is with our own system also, because we take it seriously, we take a murder very seriously, we take a dacoity very seriously. But in the system also, in the police system also, most of the our sub-inspector or inspector, they don't take the cheating seriously, because it's an individual crime which only affect a single individual. If you see it apparently only hits a single individual, that societal impact is not there till now, but that is only a apparently, but because the whole impact is much more. So that is one challenge, that still the law enforcement agency are not taking the small cheating, is not in a very serious manner. Second thing is obviously the system means that we don't have the requisite training, as it's very difficult to catch this guy who is calling. It's not like that you will get the phone number, you will get a locative. It's not like that, as you see in the TV channels, that by tracking the mobile that criminal was caught. It's not like that, because when they are calling, they are sitting some remote villages. When you go, you will get a 2 kilometer, 4 kilometer, 5 kilometer radius where thousands of people are sitting there and calling. So that is the thing where we need our training. We need to train our guys. We need to train our inspector and sub-inspector, so that we can take these challenges in future with some more thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Wonderful speech, sir. Sir, I have a small question on this. As you spoke about the awareness amongst the cops, they don't have the sensitivity or the awareness towards this kind of crimes which are happening at this moment. And number two, the most important thing is about the cyber forensic. Do we have this kind of infrastructure at this moment in India, or the Indian cops? Do they have this kind of structure to not only identify those crimes, but also at the same time to keep those things intact, so that they can be presented in the court in a proper way, and the victim can get the proper judicial assistance?
Obviously, Sujit, there are two questions of what I guess. That first is the training aspects of our own officers, and it's not like the training of the police officer only. It's the training of the police officer. It is the training of the judicial officer, and it's training of the cyber experts. And I am telling you, these things are going, and obviously things are a little. There are some issues, but we generally in our in-house in that premier institution like NPA or in our CDAC Bhopal, many training courses are going on. That is in progress, and hopefully in 2 or 3 years, you know that only inspector level officer can investigate one IT Act cases, and that is an issue, and that discussion is also going on, because most of the inspector level officer are a little aged. In Bengal also, we have inspector level officers. They are mostly 45, so they don't have that that touch with the electronic system. So that thing is already going on. And second thing, you told me about the cyber forensics. So cyber forensics in not only in India, even in Bengal police, in Kolkata police, we already have most of the system in our place. And if you follow the news, there are many cases where there are some international issues also, international call center. Those are successfully done by the Kolkata police. So I will not discuss, I will not go to the details of cyber forensic, because again, I am not an expert. But obviously we have the officer in Delhi, in Kolkata. They are the expert. They are in a few numbers, but they are very good and they are doing their job professionally. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your information. Sir, I would like to start with Arjit, sir. If you could please start with your insight on this particular topic.
Thank you so much. It's beautiful to hear Vivek ji and the previous speakers, especially Shomodip. Beautiful thought, Shomodip. And sitting in a police department, the kind of information you shared, really happy to listening all of your insights. Okay, so coming back to the exact point of view, to be very honest, I'll go a little bit of technical, but I'll try to keep it very easy for all of us to understand. I think we have been talking a lot about Google taking our data, a lot about Facebook is taking our data, a lot about Amazon is taking our data. Unfortunately, we are having this meeting in Google Meetup. So what exactly we are talking about? Who is taking data or who is not taking data? So
I mean,
of course,
technically, if I talk
is...
about, we are stopping it. So you can take care of it. I'm taking care of. Don't worry about that right now.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So that's fine in there. But yeah, I'm on the verge of building our own one. You know what I'm saying? So it's not gonna be problematic for upcoming next meeting. That's for sure. I'm being honest about it, because I want to make the whole country Atmanirbhar. So please, Arjit, Mr. Arjit, it's really nice seeing it here, and I understand your concern. You know what you're trying to say. Please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So when we are talking about a little bit about taking data, to be very honest, there are corporate companies whom we are actually discussing about. These corporate companies that's the usual case, don't sell the private data on open public forum. The only challenge is wherever we are going, like in a supermarket or probably whenever we are buying anything, out of a normal common behavior, we usually fill up the form. We fill up forms with our credit card details. Sometimes we can see it's very common in Bengal, it's common in India, that there will be people in supermarket who will be asking you, do you need a credit card? So could you please fill up this form? Then my executive can go to your home and then probably give you a credit card. There, we never ever think that how exactly our data is being polluted. I'll exactly use this word, polluted. When you fill up that data, we usually have a tendency to fill up our birth date, year, and month. That's scary. That's damn scary. And there are places, mainly in supermarket, whenever you're doing your billing, usually the billing person is asking you, sir, can I have your mobile number, while doing all those kind of, tic-tac-toes on the console itself. And people usually give their phone number, and that number usually connects to his either credit card or banking system. You don't know what's going on in the back end. The main challenge starts from there. I'm not going to talk about very big digital fraud. Then there is another aspect. I'll echo with Somadev. The digital aspect is that whenever you are going, probably, it's scary, it's really scary. Whenever you are probably going for, say, a vacation and you buy a ticket from some third-party website, out of curiosity, usually people go for a very cheap kind of situation where they can get prices which is really, really optimized. And we give all our data. All means all. And you purchase a ticket with a credit card, including the date and time when you're traveling. That's really scary because these data goes to a third party, which belongs to none of these third party people. It belongs to you. But when this data is being sold, you get a call, you get an ad, you get a tick mark, you get an email that such and such offer is there. That's perfect. Cool. I'm getting an offer. I'm getting an ad. But all of a sudden in your WhatsApp, somebody is messaging, you know, my father is ill and my mom is ill, and then I'm looking for X amount of money. Could you please help? We are all human beings. We are not all smart, technical geek. And these people are so smart, they will put a picture, a name, exact Aadhaar number by making a statement that my parents are ill. We are 4 sisters. My father is a blind person. I'm giving you a real case, okay? And my mom, she is in a hospital. I need serious help. Can you please give me X amount of money with Google Pay or whatever the medium is? It can be Paytm, it can be anything, any payment gateway. Out of humanity, who actually love helping people, they try to do it. So I'll be giving you a small tip how you can maybe protect yourself. If you look at their WhatsApp chat details, you will not find a proper person's face over there. There is a system which you can use. Take a snap of that particular person, search about it, and understand whether this person is real or not, his or her name is real or not. We don't do that, number one. Number two, these people will have a business account. I mean, business WhatsApp account. And they will put all these information in a very sophisticated way, you know, so that you can see the details and you can get an understanding, okay, this is a real person. They will push your mindset to understand these are real cases. So try to avoid such kind of conversation into your any kind of WhatsApp or conversation or communication, whatever you are doing. Number one. Number two, the serious issue that you usually get. I'll be very, very open with you, okay? In Facebook, mainly, nowadays the trend is somebody will probably connect you, that's a lady, with a picture of a lady. You don't know who is he or she in the back end. And will say that, I want to be your friend. And men are men always. They accept it. And then after that, they will give you a video call and then say that, okay, can we just open up between us? Like, I'll be, you know, very, very open with you and you become the same. So out of manlyhood, they say, okay, you know, let me do that. There are cases. I don't know how people think. These videos, these are not real people. There is a video going on with pause, with swapping to give you an experience that somebody is behind. And that person, out of curiosity, started opening his camera, probably doing something else. And what they do, they will take your face, morph it, utilizing deepfake. They will create a porn video and start molesting you. It is becoming a trend nowadays. So when you are talking about data, utilizing data, such kind of things are happening. It's not a fault of government. It's not a fault of police. It's not a fault of our cybercrime department. It's a fault of us. Probably we need to understand what to do and how to do. Coming back to our solution, which I really loved, and that's the reason probably I joined with a short notice, creating a platform for Indians to probably protect data and data of all these Indian people. Do you know how many Indian data are being sold out of India with huge amount of money? And that's not a small number. Trust me, it's not a small number. And I have been contacted by a multiple number of people, even though I have my ways to, protect, safeguard, or whatever it is, because I'm from this industry. But if you look at a normal traditional entrepreneur who is not a technology geek, it's a challenge. It's a huge challenge. They have been contacted by so many people we never ever even thought to ask from where you got my data. You know what? I'll give you an interesting fact. Shomadip probably can echo me. Whenever you're giving a call to someone or you're getting a call, if somebody is saying that, okay, recording started, and you hear it in the background, recording started, we never ever think otherwise. We usually start talking, we usually communicate with each other. Before record anyone's voice, any discussion, you need to take a permission. That's a law. It's a legal aspect. You can't just all of a sudden record someone's voice. Why? It's not about the communication. It's about the voice that is going up. And in future, the future is coming, that's face recognition and voice recognition. So whenever these recording things are happening, this recording can go up to a certain level where it can be clipped and can be used in future to crack your banking data. So before you enter into any call, it's called voice tagging. That's coming up very fast in the market. Before you go for any kind of call wherein you see that someone is recording, please asking why you are recording. Sometimes we get a call that from some call center, and they say that the human voice will say that this call is being recorded for quality and training purpose. Why? It's my voice. So I am the one who is going to give you authority whether you can record it or not. So you can always tell them, no, I am not comfortable. So the situation should be opposite. Like, I am calling from such and such company, and this call can be recorded for quality and training purpose. Can I have the permission? If the person says yes, then only you should do that. Unfortunately, our law, our system didn't give us those kind of power to give a voice against that. We need that badly. We need that badly. Talking about creating an Indian platform, it's a big need. And I have seen the world. I have traveled so many countries. Probably Shomojit can echo me. In Europe, it's not easy to get people data. You can't do that. There are laws. In US, you can't do that. If you're doing it, a common person can sue anybody, any corporate company, it doesn't matter. There are cases, which is $1 million cases, by just sharing your data to a third party. We need that. So I'll highly appreciate if we can, such kind of system, which is being done, and that's being probably promoted or supported by our ministry somehow, if the solution is foolproofed, number one. Number two, whenever we are talking about private social media, I have been, someone actually pitched about it a few months back. They're creating some private social media. I have a serious question on that. Like, what is privacy? If you're creating a social media with private mode, is it becoming a social media really? I mean, do you feel that it's real? I have another serious question. It's a serious question. In Facebook, there is a private mode. And when you are in private mode, you're sending friend requests to someone. If I can't see who you are, do I have the flexibility to accept your request or just ignore it? I usually ignore it personally. But from that person's perspective, probably he or she wants to protect his or her own data. I don't know the reason. But if I am you, if I need to connect, probably I would have given a text, a message first by asking a permission. Maybe we need such kind of situation, need such kind of education for all these Indians. I'm not going for rural India, to be very honest. Sometimes I feel that the elderly people, they are helpless. The only reason is, if you look at Calcutta, if you look at Delhi, if you look at Mumbai, mainly the fastest growing cities, a lot of parents, they have kids who are working out of India. This is my last line, okay? And for these people, they want to touch base with their kids, maybe studying in foreign or working in foreign, and they need to have a banking transaction for them. It's a challenge nowadays. How do they communicate? Will they communicate utilizing the social media? Will they communicate? Social media includes everything, including your WhatsApp. Okay. Will they communicate utilizing a normal phone call? Well, there are companies who are giving you SIM card, which is making a statement that this is not connected in the social media. You can call directly utilizing a specific app, so you don't need to pay such and such charges. So if we ignore such charges, like we want to skip those charges, you need to pay something. Nothing is free. So either your data will be sold or you pay a premium account to protect your data. Choice is in our hands. There is no solution, to be very, very honest. I don't see there is a solution. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see there is a solution which can actually give a 200% security or 360-degree security in today's world. We need to become smart and smarter, and I completely agree with the theme of the summit that is there today. We need a system which is by Indians, for Indians, so that we can communicate with each other comfortably. That's happening in China. That happens in Korea. That happens in a lot of Asian countries. They don't allow the third-party companies to access their people data. So why can't we do that? Come on, we are talking about digital India and we don't have our own system. Oh my God, we need that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ajit sir. Wonderful. And I have a small question again. So I would like to ask you that you spoke about the individual. We mostly spoke about the individual citizens of India. But what do you think about the corporate India, which has billions and billions of dollars or maybe rupees on building assets or building infrastructure, but they hardly care about these kind of issues like data safety, data security? So do you think that they are in a very comfortable position at this moment? Or do they have that kind of awareness about this particular issue?
Well, if you are talking about MNCs, they of course have that kind of awareness. I don't believe that they don't have awareness. I'm connected with a couple of them, so of course they have that kind of awareness. But if we are talking about few corporates, probably they don't have such deep level awareness in the ground level. I shouldn't say the sea level, but probably in the ground level. You know, it may happen sometimes that maybe the person, just Shomojita was sharing the very simplified manner. Sometimes somebody is coming to your doorstep and saying that, I want to sell a credit card, I need your data, or probably they want to deliver something in your home. Now this person, if they can access your phone number, of course, with a small amount of money, they can sell it. So there is no way you can protect that. The only way is utilizing probably a different two numbers. One number shouldn't be public. One number should be public for all these kind of transactions. So that's one of the best way. Now, when you asked about the awareness, I personally feel that we need to teach people about a little bit of technology rather than using the tools. A lot many cybercrime, or they say that they are basically analyst or probably a cybersecurity personnel. They sometimes teach on tools only. Tools are great. I agree. Tools are great. But it's my personal opinion. Instead of only tools, if we can teach them the technology and the algorithm behind what's going on, it would have been much more simpler and easier and flexible for any corporate to take a decision on the core level. I'm talking about corporate banks. So when we talk about banks, they usually outsource it to a third party. But if the C-level executives can understand all such kind of things in a very simplified manner, simplified algorithm, they don't need to learn the coding. They can only understand the algorithm. Then it would have been probably easier to outsource to the third party as well. They can ask such kind of questions. I consult to several international bank on this aspect, and that's what we have been taken care of. Unfortunately, in India, I'm not sure how much we are doing, but we need that.
You spoke about elders. You spoke about the elders, less of awareness about this particular thing. But we should also talk about another huge community, which is the children. They are also exposed to mobiles these days. They're exposed to data. They are exposed to multiple kind of resources at this moment. Digital resources are there. So how do you think we can actually aware them also about these kind of things? Do you think a certain kind of schooling is also needed from a very basic level?
Can I answer this in a different way?
Absolutely.
Today's kids are smarter. I mean, smarter than the parents. Trust me or not. Okay, they can access such kind of things which probably the parent don't even know about or never heard about it. Instead of teaching parents, why don't we teach? I'm so sorry. Instead of teaching kids, why don't we teach the parents what is good governance and what is good cybersecurity? How they can probably ask their kids to surf in the internet, not to click a third party on what to click, what not to click. If that can be done in the age group of, say, for an example, 7 onwards, I mean, age group 7 onwards, we can safeguard a lot of kids nowadays. Talking about kids below 7, like age group of 3.5, maybe audience will think that what this guy is talking about. Age about 3.5, access to smartphones? Yes, they have. They usually watch cartoons in YouTube, watch rhymes. There is a specific rule from YouTube that you can't display any kind of ad which is not for kids. But somehow it's a phone of parents. And the age group doesn't belong to a kid. So whatever you're watching is not, I mean, from the machine's perspective, it's not a kid who is watching, right? Now there are two situations. One, I create a solution which will actually detect the face of a kid and then understand it's a kid. So I will not display an ad which is not for kids. But that's violation of personal information, right? And if I don't do that, then I can't, I'm just giving example, then I can't understand whether it's a kid or whether it's an adult. So I will highly recommend, if you are giving your phone to your kid just to listen to a rhyme or probably a dance, it's informative. Kids are learning faster, better. Maybe their accents are becoming really awesome because they have access to some English which is not taught in India. Probably they will learn a different kind of language. That's the positive aspect. Negative, they don't know where to click or how to click, which is ad, which is not an ad. Out of curiosity, it might happen that they click some link and they go to somewhere which is not acceptable. So in that part, there is a setting in your phone. Before you give it to a kid, you probably change a little bit of different setting so that it belongs to a kids level segment so that you can watch it. Number one. Number two, safe mode is you download all these rhymes which you want your kids to see. In an offline mode, you give it to your kid. They will surf naturally. They will not feel that it's not online or offline. Okay. Once they have that understanding, I can go online on my own. You start giving those kind of training. I think that's one of the best way. Trust me or not, today's kid, oh my God, they can code their own. Even I know a group of kids who can actually do ethical hacking. They are not doing anything wrong. They can do that. So they are smarter than us. Probably it is our responsibility to give them a guidance. Otherwise, they will become a guideless missile, which we don't want.
Thank you. So in this discussion, I would like to bring in Khan. Khan, what do you think? Because you're also coming up with a bundle of new products. So do you think these products will be acceptable by the kids also? Because when you are building a product, you have to keep these segments in mind, not only the elderly, the kids also, because they might be your user at the same time. So what would be your perspective on this particular thing?
I mean, after listening all these people, like I was so surprised, like the kind of problem they are facing in, you know what I'm saying? Honestly, if I talk about, I mean, the way Mr. Ambassador, he just said about like a 2010 or someone just said like in 2010, the digital era started in India. But technically, if I talk about to you guys, I mean, I started myself in the same time because I was feeling if I have to talk to my family and the kind of messenger people was using on that time, I never used it. You know what I'm trying to say? And the reason behind like I felt it because that is something people don't even care about the encryption. The time being, I started working on it, you know what I'm saying? So on that point, there was no encryption. There was no something that people care about and people was paying for it. You know what I'm trying to say? even today, if I talk about my whole ecosystem, it took me about 7 years to build this whole ecosystem. And then after I came into the market, but I mean, after coming to the market and after seeing those kind of product line, what people are offering, that makes me funny. You know what I'm trying to say? Because like you say in yourself, you're a startup. You know what I'm trying to say? But you know, given the facility that can change the perspective of being a startup. You know what I'm trying to say? And if I talk about my product line, that can help you to understand what's the difference between them and us. It's something is like as Mr. Arijit said, you need to have a safe mode. You know what I'm trying to say? So what we have done is like there is a search engine what we as you can see behind me, that search engine have a safe search. So once you click on it, then your kids not able to search what they are looking into. You know what I'm trying to say? So I have built that thing in 2019, not even today. And there's still people don't aware of it. They have no idea what we are offering. So it's all about like the reason behind we have started this whole, you know, conversation and this whole conference. That's the only reason, because I can hear your problems. You know what I'm trying to say? And the problems you guys are going with in terms of like, if I talk about police department, in terms of if I talk about the government departments, and people were saying about, as Mr. Somyadeep said, that we need to have a legal system that can correlate and all these aspects. But I believe as a startup, innovation is the way we can change the perspective. You know what I'm trying to say? So if we try something, because if I talk about my product line, then the search engine that you might already see it, I have my own messenger that is not free. As Mr. Arijit said, you can't get everything for free. You know what I'm trying to say? And I do, I mean, feel it. I'm not going to give it to you for free. You know what I'm trying to say? Because it took me quite a long time to build that thing. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's not free. But one time you pay for it and you understand the difference, what you are offering there and what we are getting in our one. So we have our search engine, we have our browser, we have our messenger, we have our own B2B e-commerce as well. We have our own SaaS-based application that can help you to run the whole business. So if I talk about like how to protect the privacy here, then you don't need anything else once you are in vCrypt ecosystem. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's the reason behind it took me quite a long time, because lots of investors, they probably confused sometimes, like they say like how there is a one founder created this whole ecosystem. You know what I'm saying? But that's not the concern about selling the product. When I was building the whole ecosystem, that was something that I was feeling like, oh my days, if I'm searching something, they are tracking me. You know what I'm trying to say? If I'm talking to someone, they are tracking me. If I'm like buying product, they are taking my all the credit card details. Everything is just in a way that people can not feel comfortable with. And on that point of time, it just came out. Like I'm not a background with the tech. You can say like I haven't done any sort of degree or something, but that give me a kind of understanding. Like if I start working on it, and as you said, Mr. Arijit, that every single time, like all the kids are getting so much of aware about those technology and all, you know what I'm saying? And then I realized like if the kids can build these whole scenarios and the codings they are doing, why not I can do that? It just took me a long time. That's the whole point. But the thing that we have bring to you, it's about something that can change the perspective of using online ecosystem. You know what I'm trying to say? And when I talk about like how we can change the perspective of, you know, ourselves to giving up our data, it's all about if we have the whole ecosystem together. And once it's together, then you don't have to cross line each other. You got a point. You don't have to switch from one place to another place, because right now you are switching it. And once you are starting switching from like you're using vCrypt, for example, right now, and in the same moment you're just switching into something else, maybe some other application. That's what I'm trying to say. On that point of time, you lose in yourself. That's what I'm trying to say. If I say that, like I have only search engine and I'm offering you the kind of facility that you're looking into, you know what I'm trying to say? That means I'm lying to it, technically, if I talk about. So because I know that if you have a search engine and if you have the whole ecosystem together, then you can only care about their privacy. And privacy is not something that people have to think like, okay, this is, I mean, as you said in the beginning, like if you are recording someone, then you have to take the permission. So if I talk about my product line, then every single time I ask something that is more precious for them, because like I would say I started my LinkedIn few days ago. You know, I'm saying because I was not using any sort of social media before. As I said, like I'm a privacy guy, so I was thinking like, how can I just use that thing? But you know, it's a market demand, and you have to connect with the businesses. And for that reason, I started using it. One thing I realized, when you're using any sort of social media, either it's a Facebook or Instagram or whatever you call it, I'm not quoting anyone. I'm just saying about in a word according to myself. But on that time, you are not understanding the real difference, what's going on around here, because they are asking you every single details in the first go. They don't even have to care about like how many times you're surfing and how many times you're looking into there. They don't even care about how many times you just moving around in terms of like stalking someone's profile. They just care about once you get done with all the permissions, you're done, because they are complied with the law. But according to me, compliance with law is not that important, because if you know, if you are honest about your own product line, what you're offering to the customer, that means like we are not offering the right product, according to me. You know what I'm trying to say. So from my perspective, if you talk about, then we do have to care about, and if we have the whole, I mean, you know, ecosystem, then people have to support me. You know what I'm trying to say. And if they support me, our Indian culture, if they are supporting us, then I can make that show that we're never going to be colonized again. You know what I'm trying to say. Because I wrote a article quite a few days ago, and Mr. Ambassador, he was talking about like people are going to start trading about those things. And yeah, that's the reality. After maybe 5 years down the line, I have wrote the same thing 20 days ago, maybe 20, 30 days ago, that maybe, I mean, after 5 years down the line, people are going to start trading here and know your name, your whole, every single thing, what you are searching, what you're looking into, what your wife looks like, what your brother looks like, and what your mom looks like. So you can imagine like your personal privacy is every single time is getting invaded, and you're the only reason behind it, because you don't care about those things. That's what I'm trying to say. So, I mean, I can say quite a lot more, but I would say take a leave, you know what I'm saying? So thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for the vision. So I would like to invite Devruti ma'am, Dr. Devruti. Yeah, ma'am. Please start your speech.
Thank you. Okay, I just heard all of us speaking. I would like to mention about two the legal provisions on the basis of which I would like to carry forward the discussion. As we started the discussion about the data protection and especially Indianizing the entire data protection system, I would like to mention about Section 6A of the Information Technology Act and Section 79 of the Information Technology Act. Most of us know about it, but I would like to share my own opinion. But before I go ahead, I would like to give a very brief introduction about myself, so that all of us would be knowing that how and why I'm speaking on this. I'm a law teacher. I am a professor at Parul University, and beside that, I had been a practitioner, and I have been dealing with cybercrime victimization cases. I'm a pro bono cybercrime victim counselor. So on this basis, I would like to start with first Section 6A of the Information Technology Act, which basically says that whatever the data is being generated, or especially I'm talking from the perspective of digital India, digitized India, it says that the government can authorize some third party basically to manage the data. That is the reason we do get to see that whenever there is a CCTV, because the first two speakers emphasized on this, whenever there is a CCTV image generation, or whenever there is any data of national importance or sensitive personal data that has been generated, or it has been taken from the individuals like you and me, that goes for a data bank, and that data bank is not managed by the government alone but by a third party who is basically commissioned by the government. Question comes here is that how far we are doing the auditing. Now again, this also is answered by Section 7 of the Information Technology Act, which clearly states that, and this is, I'm talking about the amended version, which clearly states that this data bank, or I'm using the term data bank, and also the commissioned persons or the agencies who are in charge of collecting, processing, maintaining, or as we are discussing about the cyber security related issues, it has to be audited. number of times we have seen that whenever there is an attack on the critical data grid, or for example when there is a possibility of attack on the critical data grid, especially when we get to see about the terrorism related attacks, we have seen that the cyber security, cyber law experts have basically mentioned about this section and saying that who is doing the auditing. Basically, I will also go with all the speakers. We do not have any agency as such who will go for the auditing of this thing. So actually what I want to say is that in the existing legal provision, we have got the statutes, we have got the laws, but there are no executors as such. Coming to the next understanding, IT Act Rule 2021, very popularly known as 2021, plus Section 79 of the Information Technology Act. And also with this, I would also like to mention about our sensitive personal data. Whenever, now that the 2021 February, this IT Act Rule 2021 very clearly says, it basically shifts the burden on the social media platforms, on the internet companies basically to take down or to take action on any any objectionable content data, etc. And this objectionable content data can be, as a woman I'm telling, because mostly 99% I receive complaint from the women, and they say that it's not only fake data or fake profiles, but many women basically have gone through sextortion, grooming, cyber stalking, and just whatnot, revenge pornography, voyeurism, banking related issues, all these things. Some have also come up to me stating that as Mr. Bhattacharya also mentioned, that our CCTV images has been taken up. Plus, we also get to see that workplace sexual harassment. I personally have seen workplace sexual harassment cases. The data basically is gathered, dumped in a data bucket, which again is looked after by the third party, and nobody literally takes care of it. There are umpteen number of cases I have seen, and the victims also have contacted me, that from some data bank, these CCTV images have been leaked. And obviously these actually include some kind of morphed images, some kind of nude images. For example, when two persons are heterogeneous or homogeneous people, they are sitting together in a very compromising situation in a public place, thinking that they have got some privacy because they're hiding under a bush or whatever it is. But somewhere, somehow they have been captured, obviously digitally, and these things have come out on the public data, super highway. So they have asked me that what to do, where to go, and how to remove it. Now, I have always suggested that you can basically contact the websites that is looked after by Section 79. You can also report the matter directly to the judicial magistrate, which is looked after by Criminal Procedure Code, and obviously the police is there. Unfortunately, I completely agree with Mr. Bhattacharya that when the victims, I push them to go to the police. When I tell them that go and register the matter with the police, there is a possibility, or there is 100% chances that they will not take the cognizance of the cases. So it will be considered as a non-cognizable offense, and the victims obviously will not be able to understand the legal terms, forget about the cyber security, cyber related terms. So what they will do is that they will come back to the ethical or unethical hackers. My question is that, is there anything that we recognize as ethical hacking in our laws? The answer is no. We do not recognize any sort of hacking, whether it is ethical hacking or it is unethical hacking. Many persons may not agree with me, but if you see the structure of the Information Technology Act, nowhere it is stated that ethical hacking is permitted. Next comes the question, then what is the job of the ethical hackers? And how they can protect the data. Obviously, in many other seminar, webinars, or training sessions that I have gone as a resource person, I have asked the same thing to the army officers, to the police officers, that do you consider ethical hacking as good? There are some people who are in the army, so who had confidentially has stated that yes, we have got Army Hackers Association, but this is hush hush pop up. So there's nothing like legal thing, because again, as one of the very eminent speakers said, that politically and also because of our national interest, there is some people within the police system, within the army system, who are given the authority. Now comes the question is that when they are given the authority, are we generating any memo? I'm sorry, I'm talking completely in the legal terms. Are we generating any memo? because even there also we do get to see some sensitive personal data that is actually being touched. Since I'm talking as a woman for the women, and I will be talking for the benefit and also the protection of the data of the women. I have seen that there are all of you have discussed about the biometric data, all of you have discussed about the banking data, etc., etc. I would also like to share one of my personal experiences that I am right now going through, and I love to play with the caller, because I had been using particular telecom brands, very renowned telecom brands broadband, and I have shifted, so I could not access or I could not get the services of that particular telecom brand, because where I am staying right now, in my home place, this is not available. So from the telecom brand, they have called me, this is probably the 50th time. One of the callers, I again go with Mr. Bhattacharya and also with the two Mr. Bhattacharyas. So one of them actually suggested, can you shift to a place where this telecom brand actually operates? So I asked him, will you pay the rent for me or will you buy the property for me? And then he said that, please share your number. I said that the same number where you are speaking, so I think you know everything. Then he started accessing my data, that is where I'm staying, which is the area, etc. So I told that, see, don't forget that I'm from the law background, and I can also see that you are accessing the data. This kinds of playing with the persons, I know that he's basically again an agent of the telecom brand, but he's trying to keep his job. He also told me that for the purpose of training purposes and also for the purpose of generating some other things, we are recording the data. And I said that if you're recording the data, fine, I'm also recording your call. So please do remember, if you have not taken permission, I have also not taken permission. This is being generated in my device, and at the right time, at the wrong notion, I will also publish the same recording if you are doing so. So obviously he got a little bit afraid, and thereafter there were some calls from the women for the same reason, why I have not paid for the broadband services, and whether I really want to retain, whether I want to have a rental service, etc. So I always told that you all know that. Now, considering my experience, considering my age, and considering my anticipation that what may happen with my data, I am playing, and I love to play all these things. As you say, that the naughty woman plays. But this may not be the scenario with other women, especially. What happens, especially for those women who are staying, who are empowered, who are staying alone or with their families, and the phone calls comes to them, they might be so busy. For example, all of us were discussing, they might be so busy, they might be cooking, they might be looking after their children, they might be in the meetings, etc. So they basically either will not attend the calls, or they will give away, let the problem go. They might give away many sensitive personal data, which these people obviously will be selling. Where do we go for reporting these things? My understanding, again, I will go with all of you. Awareness creation is very necessary, but now it is no more awareness creation for understanding the patterns of cyber crimes or for understanding the patterns of data infringement. It is to understand that what sort of data we are giving up and why we are giving up. I again go with all the speakers here, especially for a woman, because I'm telling that all gentlemen over here, that when your data is being sold, your part of life is being sold. We as women, we know that if our data is being sold, our body, our structure, physical structure, and our face is being sold, our sexuality is being sold, and our reputation is being sold. So for this, we have to look at Section 79, which basically takes away the exemption clause. And somehow, somewhere, we can make some kind of vicarious liability, if you say, or we can make some kinds of complete direct liability to these service providers, to these internet companies, because they are harassing us. And today itself, I got to see a news in Wired, because the Wired, the news channel, where it was basically stated that the government had asked for. I know that IT Act rule 2021 had been heavily criticized, but it was also stated there in this today's news that the government has asked all these internet companies that give us now the sheet or give us now the report card, how many complaints have been registered against you. No company could come up, no company can come up, because there have been few, or I would rather say nil, reporting against the company. I always tell the victims that who approach me that against the perpetrator, take the double case, that is against the website also, against the service provider also. unfortunately, even though the system actually exists, the law actually exists, the police officers, the judicial officers, and why we should forget the prosecutors, the defendants, we the lawyers, we are also not properly trained to handle the data and how to establish that that particular company has created some kind of criminality by breaching the laws which have been generated by us. I would like to conclude here that not to forget our IT Act basically has got the extraterritorial jurisdiction, but what we need to see is that there is no treaty as such which is giving the power to our courts to take away all these things to the worldwide jurisdiction wise, except a few criminal activities, as again Mr. Bhattacharya, Shomadhi Bhattacharya was telling that when we have to see for the universal jurisdiction also, that includes terrorism, that includes child pornography, that includes some kinds of finance related thing when it is feeding terrorism. But are we thinking about data infringement related offenses for women? No, we don't have any bilateral, multilateral treaties for treating offenses against women, especially when data has been breached. Are we thinking about anything related to the LGBTQ people, especially when their data, because as the ambassador, honorable ambassador was also telling, and also the eminent speaker, that is the retired IAS officer, very respectfully I'm telling that as they were mentioning, our vaccination data, our Aadhaar card data, our PAN card data, if these things, these things are considered as the very sensitive personal data, because when a person is changing gender, they are undergoing some kind of operation, entire data is being sold. Are these things being considered as something which should be considered for the treaty related things when the perpetrator is sitting in other jurisdictions? We are not having any answer, even though made in India law is there, but made in India law is not being executed. So in my understanding, I think that politically, internationally, and also to a certain extent, the government has to take care of this so that the laws which are created in India can be used pan-India as well as can be used in the world itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a small question.
Subhajit, just give me 1 second. I've heard Dr. Devarathi, and I really felt like what she was talking about the women, like how things are going on. You know what I'm saying? But as you said about the LGBTQ community as well. So the way has to be, because the law, it doesn't matter if you have a law or not. You know what I'm trying to say? It's about the people that they have to understand each other, what they are offering. You know what I'm trying to say? So for example, if I talk about, like, as you said,
I think his connection got disrupted.
Connection. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you said, like why we are misusing it. If we don't have that, we're not gonna misuse it, right? That's what I'm trying to say. So for example, you have like hundreds of megabytes in your phone or something like that. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have that thing in your phone, you might not gonna have to be misused. You know what I'm trying to say? So what we are doing here is like whenever you do something on our platform, on our ecosystem, everything going to be self-destructed every single time when you search. That's what I'm trying to say. So we don't keep any sort of things that might not be useful for in terms of like next time when you use it. You got a point. So every single time when you're using such companies, hello, can you hear me, guys? Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So every single time when you guys using some kind of company right now that is available in market right now, they all have the same kind of provision, or maybe you can say like the kind of criteria they are offering. Every single time you're using something and they are using yourself. Every single time you go in a website or maybe in a application, they create your profile. You got a point. But here we don't do that, and that's the difference between me and them. You got a point. So if someone is saying that we are not capable of doing this, that's not the right thing. It has to be some kind of support and people aware about that we are there, but we can take care of it. That's what I'm trying to say. So as you said, like there's a lots of data already available, and if it's not controlled with the proper infrastructure, then we might not gonna be take care of it. You got my point? And that's the whole perspective of our company is like we are trying to get that dealt properly, and we are trying to get the things in a way that people don't have to care about. And if you don't have to care about, you're not gonna have to worry about. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was my reply. I'm
Thank
really
you.
apologize for if you for the interruption if I made that.
No, that's absolutely fine. It's wonderful. Ma'am, I have the last question. I know you're in a hurry to leave. Just last question to you before we conclude. That if you are talking about the digitization of the judiciary, which is a very welcoming step, I believe it will obviously, help
Yes.
the entire lawyer fraternity. So, by keeping data safety in mind, do you think this is a realistic option at this moment? It is possible in India.
It is possible provided the law is properly executed, because like you see, when the orders are passed or when the parties to the particular suit or a criminal case, they visit the police station. From there basically the data generation starts. So we have to see that in Bengali we have a term called shorsher moddhe bhut. So basically what happens is that inside the police department, inside the judiciary registry, inside the prosecutor's office also, there might be some loophole where the entire data is being stolen. Now, this is something where in one of the conferences I also asked, I had put up this question to the judiciary stakeholders, and they did not have any answer, because we do not have any data protection laws still now for India. It's still in the bill. And therefore, we have to consider that what has the European data protection law has stated, and how we are still taking the crux of it from Article 21, or even whatever is scattered in IT Act, that is Information Technology Act. This will not serve any purpose, because say for example, if I know the case number, if I know the name of the parties, I can basically access anybody's bail matter, and I will get to know that which person has committed which offense, who is the victim. However, I can say that for the protection of the women and children, since I've been seeing that you're talking about the children also, our POCSO Act, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act, our Criminal Procedure Code, our Indian Penal Code, and also our Juvenile Justice Act. Each of them, they say that there should be a protection, there should be a confidentiality given to women and children. Their names should not be published. Nowadays, the court is also coming up by stating that if a woman is also entering into any family matter, domestic, violence, etc., her name should not be published, so that this identification, that is the personal identification marks, this should not be traveling from one court to another. This should not be traveling from one device to another. But that will actually not serve any purpose, as you are all experts in data, security and data privacy. You know that if there is one single piece of algorithm or anything there, you can basically identify the victim, or you can also identify the perpetrator, and from the perpetrator you can identify the victim also. So unfortunately, since we do not have the data protection law still now, this is a dicey question, but I'm very sure that very soon this situation will be covered. I'm just keeping my hopes up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So my last speaker today is Rajat Negi. So Rajat, thanks for listening to this entire discussion patiently and being a patient listener. So I would like to request you to give your insight on this entire thing. If you can round it up for us, whatever you have listened, being a journalist, what's your view?
So first of all, thank you for inviting me to the conference. And so a lot has been said already, but many panelists have already said about how data is collected from you, from ATM to already collecting data from ICICI card for XYZ bank card. So I'd like to share something that is very important that has happened in a recent scenario. We all know MobiKwik banking app. The MobiKwik banking app has recently found that they had a 10 million data leak of Indians. It's not a small amount when I say 10 million of data being leaked. The data was included like KYC document from your Aadhaar card to PAN card. Everything was available online, and you just type the number, you get everything from your card, mobile, address, your everything you can think of, and yet no one took action about it because there is no law about it. And it's very scary when you see in questions 2014 there's a lot of scams around. Data being stolen and being sold online, XYZ thing happening from Myntra to Zomato to a lot of apps. And when you see Indian startups, they don't pay much attention to data security because there is not much law. And when there is not any law, they don't need the field to hire people to safeguard the data or to spend in more. They want to save the money. And talking about that, we say a lot of hacks is happening, but we also, this has to be taken in concise that we need to teach the people how to safeguard themselves. We can't just rely on government 24/7. We can say government is not making laws, government is doing this. We have to take some action. We have to do something together to teach people how to safeguard their data online. For example, there have been many other apps. I think you must have been using them. For example, Avast, Cloudflare 111, which blocks all the malware and the adult site which you have virtual access or something like that. Also, there is a need to share the mobile information literacy. When I say mobile information literacy, the mobile information literacy refer to a term that how people should act when they see something very malicious or suspicious. We all know, we all get many WhatsApp forwards, and the Amazon sale or Flipkart sale is coming, and definitely we will get one or two malicious links which will say, click on this link and you will get something very 10% off discount or buy one get one free. And when you open that, they will ask you for certain questions about your name, number, address, and they will say, okay, we are selling this here for rupees 10, 20, something like very fishy, very malicious, and then you'll end up on clicking. What's happening with the whole process is they are collecting our data. They've got a mobile number, they know everything about it. And often these apps ask us to install some third-party apps. Often we have seen, like Google often asks you, we are playing some freeware games on. If you have children around, you have seen them playing some game, and then the ad pop-up comes in the middle of nowhere, and they're saying, okay, something very malicious or some adult game is going on there, which is very, I would say, very shameful for Google that it won't stop. We can see any free ad doing something like very shameful, but they need to take control of this. They need to stop. We need to teach people how to not to click, how to do Google reverse image search, or just check on Google before clicking on something which is very suspicious. And this is what I conclude from my side. I already said a lot has been said by the panelists, so there's not much for me to say, but yeah.
No, but still your valuable opinion is very valuable to us. But again, I have a question to you on this particular thing. Being a tech journalist, you often review multiple products.
Yes.
So what do you think? What is the basic intention? Because most of the products, we hardly think local. We are talking about local products here. We are mainly stressing on local. But do you think it can be possible? Because often we find that the qualities of the products which are launched by the Indian companies, mainly in the tech arena, are not up to the mark. They cannot compete with the global products which are there at this moment. So why do we lag?
So when you say about the many products, these products are launched by multinational companies, and we as a consumer don't have much to say to them. Hey, you do this to save our rights. No, they won't. Simply, I'll take an example of many of the companies. I won't take the name, but these companies launch mobile across the globe. They will launch a device in India. They will launch a device in Europe. The European device has something very specific which will protect the data. The Indian device has totally different thing. They will say, okay, we'll show you personalized ad. When you click, the moment you click on personalized, they will start collecting data. The phone becomes your mining. They will collect everything you search on the phone, the file manager, every other app you will see, they will start showing you small pop-ups every now and then from corner to corner. And just because they have GDPR, Europe has GDPR, which helps us protect the data. They certainly lay out terms and conditions how companies should process the data. In India, we don't have any such thing. Neither the government is currently focusing on that scenario. Okay, we should make some stricter laws or something. We should give some directions to the company. Okay, this is how you should process the data, and this is how you should not, and this is fileable. There is not such law, and companies just use our data for mining. I mean, there's not much we can do, but just government has to take some action against the companies, or just give some directives in a way that companies take concern.
And what do you think about the often, because we as a journalist, we often deal with a massive data pool of data every day. There are questions raised against the fake news or the authenticity of the data that we often, project. So as a journalist, how do you think we can balance on this particular issue, or we can really authenticate the data by staying in the competition? Because there is a lot of competition also in a field which we are in at this moment. So how do you think we can, keep a balance?
Like you said about fake news, the current government guidelines are in a fake news that action will be taken against the company. For example, like Facebook and WhatsApp are majorly in the news for that. They want Twitter also, like they don't want to set up a commission, or they were very afraid. Okay, this is a privacy of a page, the people won't be there, data will be available to the public. I'm not saying the government won't misuse it. I'm not saying it's good for that. But the thing is, we needed this. It's a need of an hour. We have seen mob lynching cases happening every now and then from last couple of years just because of WhatsApp forward that this guy is, stealing kids. This guy is, mob, cow vigilantes are running behind people, seeing the cow in the truck and they run behind and you know what happened. And then they are shot dead or they are brutally beaten by the public till they are dead. We needed this. We needed this. It was a need of an hour because these companies or Twitter or every other organization have different rules in Europe and yet they don't want to apply to similar rules in India. They have a very malign. They want to escape from them. They don't want to agree to government conditions. They want to move on the path they have been going on, just not answerable to the government. They don't want to be answerable to anyone. They just want to work the way they want to work. So this is happening for quite a while, but I think in coming time we will have something more from the government because we have been seeing digital India movement. A lot has been going on for a couple of years. Digital payment, digital everything. We want to utilize everything, e-government, e-portals, everything. But now we need to secure our data. The data in these e-government portals, the data in many other portals. I would like to highlight another thing. In February 2021, more than 5 lakh data of the police personnel was leaked online, and this was from a police examination conducted in 2019. So you see, the police data is available online, so they target the people who buy the target. It could be any other government. We have any people like countries like China, Pakistan. They would buy this data. They could use it for any malicious purpose to get something from the government. So it's something that government needs to focus on.
Correct. Absolutely correct. So if you have any question for Karn, Karn is also here. He is also building something very unique at this moment. So do you have anything specific to ask? So you can go ahead with that.
No, I don't have anything specific to ask. I just saw his website and there were a lot of things coming on the website. I'm very excited to check out when a lot of things go live and it will be a better product to safeguard our online data and privacy.
Sorry, can you please come again? What you said?
Can you just repeat the question? Yeah.
Hello. Hello.
I'm sorry.
Can I just repeat the question? Repeat the question.
Yeah, please.
I said I didn't have any question. I said I saw Parrot working on a lot of products, and I'm excited to see that when they go live and how they change the data protection thing in India.
Okay.
According to me, you asking here. Subhajit, can you please repeat the query? I'm really not able to hear.
He said he's very much overwhelmed with the product line that you have.
Oh,
he's very much excited to see them live. Yeah, see them live. That's he wanted to say.
Thank you.
So if you have something to say, Karn, you can end this entire thing, this big and insightful discussion with your end note. I would request you to do that.
I mean, I would say people just have to aware about us. You know what I'm saying? Because if we talk about what we are offering, then we have already the solution of everything, whatever you guys are facing into. You know what I'm saying? But when you don't have that kind of support and the availability, what we are trying to create here, then we can't think things can go in the right direction because it's been 2 years down the line and we are still surviving to make sure that people can understand what we are offering. You know what I'm trying to say? And people can understand about the perspective, how we are losing ourselves in terms of losing our, as I said in the beginning as well, every single time when you are surfing somewhere or maybe searching somewhere, you're losing something. And I'm competing with big giants, if I be honest with you. You know what I'm trying to say? It does have some kind of impact that I'm going to face, but I do understand what I'm doing for the people, it's something is the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's that's the happiest moment, I would say, when the first time I got the whole prototypes ready. And I do understand about one thing, that if we can take care of these things properly, then we might don't need any sort of legal system to be there. If we can, as a company, we're going to start taking our own responsibility. And that's the whole aspect if we talk about. Our company main motive is to take care of your privacy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if we have something else in terms of like people, those who have joined our conference, then we can ask to the Mr. Rajat and me as well. And if anyone is having any queries about our product line, then we can, yeah. Part of that, I would say like it's really nice talking to you guys, and thank you for coming us and understand like what we are offering here, so you can understand like how we can proceed with the digital India if you talk about. And we all talk about like Atmanirbhar Bharat, but it can't be Atmanirbhar Bharat until we don't not gonna take any steps. That's what I'm trying to say. So I took it already. Now I need you guys to just be support of me. That's the whole point. So I'm grateful and thankful for all these people, those who have joined today. And anyone like any query you have, I'm already available. Like we can discuss on it. That's the thing I could say. Yeah. So
I think that's it. It's a wonderful session, and I would again like to thank everybody whoever joined today, all the guests. Tarkan, specifically, I would like to thank you for this wonderful arranging this entire thing, and my entire team who helped me to arrange this entire thing. Rajat for staying back so long and being patient again. And please connect with us maybe later. We can connect again. So that's all. That's all from our side. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and stay safe again.
And take care of your privacy as well.
Yeah, take care of your privacy as well. Thank you.
Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.